going to discuss about how we can do development in our product design and how we can validate that development part. So after analyzing the market depth, analyzing the niche, whether it's good for us or not, understanding the keyword level, understanding the opportunity, that what is the opportunity there for us to grab the sales chunk, and then understanding the micro niche, the ideal customer persona, the purchase reason, like the reason behind the purchase behavior of the customers, and the market segmentation. Now we do have the clarity of what is our micro niche and what particular audience we are looking to target, or what particular design type or what particular features in our design we are looking for. So after having the ideal customer persona or the micro niche and their purchase reason, like the reason why they are purchasing the product, whether it's they want to get some relief from a pain or they want to get some pleasure, what is the reason behind the purchase? Understanding the two parts, micro niche and their reason to purchase the product. So these two parts are essential before we jump onto the product development part, because that's going to be a filter mechanism in our mind. Whenever we see multiple options regarding product development, these two elements are going to put the filter if we should go for a particular design or not. So after having this clarity in mind, it's time to jump onto the discussion of product development. So previously there used to come two options or two ways of product development in our mind when we used to think about, or when we used to discuss about the product development. One extreme part is to read out all the negative reviews on the Amazon listing and make up for all those deficiencies. Let's say is the our complaint is poor quality, then improve the quality. If the deficiency is there are shortage of colors, then add more colors. Or maybe the edge, the corner edge is disturbing, then make it round. Such kind of small minor improvement, very small improvement, I would say 5%, 10% improvement, or maybe 2-3% improvement in the total design. This was the one way, and I would say this was the minimal extreme way, or the way with the minimal effort to do the product development part. Now, the issue with these changes was these changes were very easy to execute and very easy to pick up. So once you launch the product with these kind of improvements, and once your competitors see that this is working for you, they can simply copy paste the product in their current design or in their current manufacturing process. And because it does not require any kind of development work, any kind of mold, any different mold, any such kind of stuff, so the competitors also execute these minor updates in the design very quickly, until you have make sure to get patent of those particular development improvements. So the issue was all these developments were very short lived, and you hardly used to get the competitive advantage for 4 to 8 months at max, or in majority of the cases. And the second way which sellers usually think is to build something from scratch. Now that's the other extreme. I mean, the first approach was at this end, and now the second approach is at this end. Way much extreme approaches. So in this thing, there's no harm in building something from scratch, but it's also not compulsory to survive or maybe to grow on Amazon. I mean, it's one of the extreme steps, but it's not the minimum viable step or the compulsory step to grow. And the second thing is there's a downside attached with this step. You take a lot of time in doing the development part, and that makes you in the negative side of wasting a lot of time. That puts you at the negative end in this particular aspect. So the middle way between these two ways, like this extreme and this extreme, the middle way is usually the best way, and that is to bring up tangible improvements in the design, which is not as easy as this extreme one. That those can be simply copied in 4 to 6 months, and it should take at least 8 months to maybe I would say 1 year ideally. So you get enough time to get sustain in that particular design type. And then it also is better from this particular extreme side, because you are not wasting the time and lacking the motivation and all the urge to do the business or to launch a particular product, because you have wasted too much time already in developing something which may work or not work. There are some great multi-million dollar product brands which have been built by doing development with this middle way, by not touching this one side extreme or the other side extreme, by this middle way, because it kind of compensates the negative sides of both points and helps you to grow further. For example, instead of protein bar, What about protein snacks? There's a brand which has launched protein chips, I would say, to encourage the easy consumption of proteins for the gym freaks. And then there's a deodorant example which has all the natural ingredients instead of those toxic aluminum kind of ingredients which are usually used in the deodorant side. So these are some minor development to listen, but these fall into this middle part, and these have helped the brand owners to grow their brands to the multi-million worth. So there are two approaches to develop the product which fall under this middle way, like not this extreme, not in this extreme. There are two approaches which fall under this middle way, in which we do some tangible improvements in the product which are hard enough to copy, like in 4 to 6 months. It should take some longer time, and which are not that much difficult that even you lose the motivation here. So the first approach is to see already different designs available which are in the market overall, which are not being sold on Amazon till yet. So this is the first approach. This is what we are going to discuss. And the second approach is, let's say we don't find some good enough products with this approach, then what should be the principles for us to develop the product so we can kind of stay within this middle approach. So these are the two types which we are going to discuss in the product development section. So let's discuss some examples of the first type of middle approach. The first type is basically we are filling up the gap. We are observing what are some good developed products or what are some good designs which are available on maybe social media platforms or other marketplaces, e-commerce marketplaces, but they're still not available on Amazon. And if we see those designs have good demand, definitely we can do the development validation as well. Once the product passes through, once that particular design passes through all this process, we can fill the gap and we can launch the product on Amazon. So that's quite easy, and it's not like copy pasting a simple product which is already available on Amazon, but you can say copy pasting a product which is not available on Amazon, and it would be hard, like no one has seen this opportunity or no one has tapped this opportunity yet. So let's discuss what can be the possible examples of this first type of the middle approach. So you can find products on social media platforms. Let's say if we are planning to launch the product in USA, then you can find products on social media platforms and then launch those products. If you find any good design on Amazon, you can also find maybe products on the Shopify stores which are good enough, and you can launch any of that design on Amazon. So the third approach can be you can find some good designs on maybe Amazon UK, Germany, Italy, Spain, France, Japan, and you see that particular design is not available in US, and you can fill the gap and launch that on Amazon. Or you can see the products in maybe the Shopify stores of any other country, like it can be maybe Rakuten in Japan, or maybe you can say the Shopify in Norway, Belgium, etc. You can find the products in those countries and see if the design is good and it appeals your the micro niche or the ideal customer persona part, and it definitely appeals the reason behind purchasing a particular product, like it is fulfilling that part. If this qualifies for these two things, then you can definitely list down all those products, and we can pass those different designs through the development validation process. So one of the good example of this approach is the Hero Cosmetics brands. What this brand did was there were some acne patches in the Korean country, and that those acne patches were simply not available in the USA. And the owner of the brand Hero Cosmetics, I guess the name is Ju Ryu, she found that gap, and she seen that people are USA people, particularly Americans, are ordering those acne patches from Korea because those patches used to work well. So she filled up the gap. She ordered some products and launched it on Amazon, and then that day, and she got success, and she kept on excelling in this particular niche, which was acne patches. And recently, now in 2022, she exited that brand, if I'm not wrong, in maybe $630 million. So what she did basically, there was a product already developed in a Korean country, I guess South Korea, that should be, and she picked up the product from that part, fill up the gap in the USA market. So the gap can be between social media platforms platform and the e-commerce marketplace, between one e-commerce marketplace and other e-commerce marketplace, between one country and the other country, or maybe one region and the other region. So that's how what you need to see where the gap is. And once you find a potentially viable product based upon the micro niche and the uh, reason behind the purchase behavior, you need to list down all those developed products. Now we are going to see some examples of this activity in the next video, and till then, goodbye.